All right. Now, if you guys are having any trouble with TikTok, get off of there, switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. You're going to have a better connection and you're going to have an easier time in the comment section being seen and heard. All right. We are going to give everybody here on YouTube a second to tune in before we go ahead and get started. So for those of you who are tuning in here through TikTok, I did just put up 2 new videos. I did one on the 1800s Victorian funeral home, a holiday restoration. And I did another video on the mediumship reveal that was supposed to go up yesterday. I fell behind. And so if you guys played that game where you were listening through the doll to my grandmother's name, that was just revealed today. So go back and check it out. And at the end of that video is another mediumship challenge. All right. So again, people on TikTok, if you could please give me a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. Welcome everybody on YouTube. If you guys could also give me a thumbs up.
YouTube, you're good.
YouTube, I'm good. Thank you so much. Still waiting on TikTok. All right. Thanks, everybody. Do you want to invite everyone to follow or subscribe? All right. Looks like we have a few people tuning in. YouTube. All right. Very good. Welcome, Jill Marie, Ashley Gabriella, Shtika Moody, Alicia Batty, Andrea M. All right. Welcome, guys. So while we wait for a few people to tune in here and there, again, if you are on TikTok and you're having any trouble with the volume or the video itself, switch to YouTube at Ask Ivy. You'll have a better connection. So we do have my weekly Ask Ivy show tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern on TikTok and 9:30 on YouTube, where I take your personal questions and I deliver messages from Spirit. I took last week off. We had an exclusive member-only show last week. And if you want to be a part of the exclusive behind-the-scenes monthly Ask Ivy shows for members only here on YouTube at Ask Ivy, you can hit the join button and see the 3 different tiers of membership. Also, I did a video I want to say last week on the holiday sale package tiers that I'm offering. There are 4 tiers for Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium that you can purchase and give as a gift or save and hoard for yourself. Treat yourself to something nice. They can be used for an entire year. And then we have 3 different packages for Ivy League Psychic Academy. So you guys can go back and watch that video if you want the details, or go up onto the different websites. That's IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com, Ivy League Psychic Academy.com. There's nothing like giving the gift of spiritual development. If you have someone in your life who would love to take classes, but maybe they're not motivated enough or they don't have the resources to do that right now, get them a package. They will absolutely love it. And readings are always a hit gift. We do have the next registration open for a taste of psychic mediumship, my 100% free psychic mediumship class. That's coming up April 24th. You're going to want to go onto my website and you're going to want to get registered for that. Seating is limited. It was a huge hit. I want to say we had like 600 people or something at the last one, and that was the first one we ever did. So I'm really looking forward to the next one. But again, it's April 24th and seats are filling really fast. So check it out. It's going to be under Taste of Psychic Mediumship free class. The Psychic Mediumship course for the winter session started yesterday. You could still jump in. So go to psychicmediumshipcourse.com to get yourself registered. And for those of you that are suffering a financial hardship right now, but you definitely feel drawn to my teachings here and the Ivy League Psychic Academy, you can apply for a scholarship program. The doors just really opened up to that yesterday. We've been having a little bit of a trickle effect the last couple weeks, but we made a big announcement about it in the last 24 hours, and that is also filling fast. So you can go on to the ILPA website page, ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com, and apply to be in the scholarship program. It is a work program. So if you can, prove that you have some financial hardship and that you are called to do this work, you would be expected to contribute to earn those classes. It's not just like a total free ride. So do keep that in mind. All right. I think we have a few people tuned in. Looks like we're doing good. Vanessa, Mary, Miss USA, Melissa Subia. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and get started. So welcome. Welcome, everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Airwalk, and I own a school called the Ivy League Psychic Academy, where I train people internationally and back to in-person, finally, after several years. So we are online and in person. I train people in everything from psychic mediumship development to Reiki, astrology, tarot, numerology, meditation, paranormal work, empathic work, you name it, we do it. Children as well as adults. And of course, I have a team of teachers who assist here at the Academy with that. So we do hope to see you for classes. Go to ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com to see all of the classes that we offer. Now, what you've got here tonight is one of my weekly free mini classes I've been putting out since the pandemic hit, called the Quarantine Series. If you want to check out all of the old classes, and there are so many at this point, I can't even count. What, probably over 100?
There's maybe.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Some weeks I do too. So this has just been nuts since COVID hit. So you go on to YouTube at Ask Ivy, go up in the playlist under mini classes, or anywhere that you can download a podcast. I've been putting them up under Ask Ivy there as well. So there's not a ton up there, but we are getting started on that. My adorable producer, Paul. How are you, Paulie?
I'm doing really well, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Paul will be taking your questions and comments. I like to have interactive classroom style, so I do encourage you guys to post. Donations are always appreciated, and Paul will take those questions as they fit with the curriculum. If they don't really fit, we'll just postpone them all to the end. I do try to get to everybody. Again, if you're having trouble being heard on TikTok, switch to YouTube at Ask Ivy. I ask everybody right now to give this video a big thumbs up. Greatly appreciated. Okay, and please do subscribe and follow. Today's topic is intuition versus imagination. How do you know the difference, and how can you be more accurate in the messages that you deliver or the messages that you want to analyze for your own self? All right, so this is always the trickiest part in training my students. This is their biggest concern when they come in for classes. How do I know it's real? How do I know it's actually my intuition instead of just me thinking or me wanting something or me daydreaming or using my imagination? And the answer is pretty simple. Getting people to swallow this reality is a little tougher. The answer is that it's all the same. You have a brain, you have different parts to your brain that function at different times and in different ways. And it's okay to use all of your mind. It is not wrong to be channeling a spirit from the other side or using your psychic ability or your empathic ability and have parts of your imagination kick in to help you to understand the symbols you're seeing, or to help you to accurately deliver that message to the person who needs that healing, or even to help you to better understand what your intuition is trying to tell you. So imagination is just part of it, and that's okay. When we get into some territory we want to avoid is inaccuracy. It's in ego. It's in control. It's in that free will zone where we stop being authentic and we switch from our intuition to our will. And this is where a lot of students will get stuck. And because of that, we have a certain system where, for example, my students are not allowed to read other people they know. For the first year to a year and a half, they're recommended never, ever to do that. We'll get into this in the curriculum a bit more. They have to read Perfect Strangers. They have to be tested out with circumstances where they have no will in that situation. They don't have an agenda for what they want to see happen, but it can still occur. Even in those scenarios, when somebody wants to control the dynamic and the channeling, they are demanding a certain amount of information or dynamic information, or they want to be right. If you have a lot of ego issues in general in your life, it is going to be very hard for you to be of service to the light and be authentic. Okay, so let's break down different reasons why it happens. How do we know when it's intuition? How do we know when it's imagination? And what can you do to better yourself in it? Okay, so we're going to go through 10 different ways that you can tell which one it is. Your intuition, okay? Number one, your intuition authentically is coming from the right side of your brain. So when we see a child at 3 years old tapping into mediumship, we see that a baby around 2-3 years old will start to talk to spirits in the room. They may even know the names of the deceased ancestors in pictures. They will play with energies. And in pictures, a lot of times in photography, you'll see orbs and things, playing and interacting with them. When that child turns 5 or 6, and this is all of us, of course, this is just human development, the right side of the brain starts to develop more. And we stop seeing the spirits with our eyes as much. We stop hearing them literally with our ears as much. And we start to hear them in our head as though it is our own inner voice, as though it is our imagination, but it isn't. And we start to see them in our mind's eye more. So you can visualize them more up in your thoughts with accuracy. Okay, so the right side of our brain is where we tap into intuition. The right side is also where we tap into creativity. Okay, so a lot of people who come in to progress in their psychic mediumship and empathic abilities end up being musicians and artists for the first time in their lives ever. It's all that right side of your brain. However, if you believe that it is your imagination that is giving you this message, that's going to come more from the left side of your brain, the logical side of your brain. So when you're thinking of giving an accurate healing or message, you want to think right brain versus left brain. Okay, we don't want all your thoughts invading and dictating. Number 2, if it is intuition authentically, it will feel very much when you ask the question, when you sit down to give the reading, when you get ready to channel about the message, the scenario. You're going to feel like the information comes authentically. It is not part of your emotion. It is not part of your ego, your desire, your logic. Therefore, it may not match. So when I'm giving a reading, oftentimes I'm well aware that the sitter doesn't like what I'm saying. They don't want to hear what I'm saying. And I train my students not to care whether or not they like it. Because if you care too much and you cater too much to the sitter's desires, their ego, their wants, then you are no longer authentically channeling. It is no longer your intuition. It's just feeding whatever people need or prefer to hear, which is not coming from the light, and it is not usually for their highest and best good. Okay. Now, when is it your imagination? Well, when you sit down to give the reading or channel the message or analyze the situation, and you realize that you're controlling it, that you want to tell the person you're reading, girl, you need to kick him to the curb. This is garbage. You need to dump this person. Or you're telling somebody, you need to, go back to college and get this degree because you should have done it long ago, but this person, and that's kind of what you want to say anyways. You're putting your own judgment on it. And it is something that you think maybe spirit would agree with. You think this is maybe what's in their best interest. The universe would probably agree. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell them that this is what I'm feeling intuitively. But honestly, you're not feeling any of that because it is just something that your ego wants to say. Okay, that's you. That's about you. And you can't be giving a reading accurately when it's coming from you. That's not what channeling is, even if it is good advice. Okay, number 3, intuition is the still small voice. Paul, if you could put that mini class in the comment section here, you guys can go back and watch the class I did here on YouTube on the still small voice. Now, this means that it's the opposite of your imagination, okay? Your left brain thinking, your logic. So when spirit speaks to you, when your intuition, psychic ability, third eye, higher mind kicks in, it is more like a whisper, and it is almost as though it is in the background. It will also come to you in a somewhat intense way the first time, but it may not keep hammering you after that. It's sort of like you get one notice and that's it. It is always the same, so it is never changing, and it is always accessible. Anytime you want to tap back into that answer, you close your eyes, you go back in, you ask for more information. It is always waiting there with the information. Peaceful, still, calm. Okay. Versus your imagination, which is bombarding. It's kind of this loud, obnoxious energy. It has no boundaries, kind of like we think of people. Okay, so when we think of people, if we were to break them down into 2 separate categories, you have your people that are mindful, that are rooted, they're grounded, they're centered. They are aware of themselves so that they make sure that they don't negatively affect the environment around them, the people around them. They take care in what they do. Then you have obnoxious, childlike, frantic, out of control people who are just spewing whatever pops into their head. And even if they're perfectly nice people, they're definitely just putting energy out all the time without any rhyme or reason to it. And it often does damage. Okay, so think of the still small voice, which is intuition, versus your imagination, which is bombarding like people. All right, number 4. When your intuition has kicked in or you've channeled a message to yourself or to others, there should be a sense of peace. Now, we may not love the answer. It may not be what we were hoping for, but we will still have an inner sense of peace. The calm and the reassurance that comes from hearing the truth is something that is everlasting. And you will feel a conclusion, or your sitter, the person who receives the message, your client, will have a sense of conclusion. It's almost like taking a load off. It's like, oh, thank God, that monkey's finally off my back. It's not what I wanted to hear, but it's what I needed to hear. Versus imagination, which is a consistent analysis. It is excessive logic, overthinking, revisitation, re-questioning. There is no ability to let it go. And you haven't embraced the truth. So you keep going back to ask again and again and again and again and again. I will get these clients who will message me, God bless you, I love you guys. Some of you are probably tuning in, but when you have messaged me like 10 times in a row with the same question, I'm not giving you another answer, okay? It is what it is. What Spirit said, what is highest and best, that's the answer. You keep coming back and asking again and again and again, hoping I'm going to crack or something new is going to happen with the situation. And what you need to do is embrace the truth and release and let go and move on, okay? That's where your growth lies. That's what the universe is supporting. So that re-questioning is coming from your imagination. And if you delivered a message to the sitter and they keep, I want to say, coming back, trying to, again, get you to do it a different way, you have to really analyze whether or not it's because you delivered the wrong message or you delivered the right message that they don't want to hear. Okay. So we don't, if it was authentic, we don't change our answer. But if you're doing it wrong, they could also not have a sense of peace. Okay. So let's look at number 5. When it is authentically your intuition, it tends to come along with physical, mental, or emotional triggers, reactions. So rarely does intuition just sort of breeze on through. No. Intuitive people are often feeling like it's a curse more than a gift. It comes with things like tinnitus, ringing in the ears, pressure in the ears, or like a seashell is up to your ears. It comes with anxiety attacks. Intuition comes with waking up, being woken up, especially between 3 and 5:30 in the morning, the haunting hour. But in general, you could find that when you're getting downloads, you're receiving messages, you're being disrupted in your sleep, not pleasant. It comes with random bouts of profusive sweating. For my students who are new, it's embarrassing. I have to tell them in the first class, you need to pack up wipes and like extra clothes and deodorant in your car if you're going to be doing this, because it will just come out of nowhere. You'll just be pouring sweat. A lot of people get crying. Now, they don't have the emotional connection to the crying, so I just call eye drainage, but it could be from the nose, the nasal, cavities. It could be your eyes with like a flood of waterworks. And a lot of people, the old timers, would say, oh, this is a sign you tapped in with divinity. You could say that. It's really possibly even your psychic ability, which if used properly could be considered divinity. But anytime you tap into dynamic energy, this could also occur. So the next one, and this is a big one, clairaudience. Okay, clairaudience. For those of you who haven't seen my Claire's class, it's up on the website. I believe it's a 2-hour training. There's a smaller free version here on YouTube. Paul, could you put that in the comments? Know your clairs, okay? Clairaudient ability is the ringing in the ears, the pressure in the ears, an anxiety attack, or the sweating, and then thoughts get put into your head. So one way to know if the intuition is accurate and true is the thought process that comes and tells you what it is that you're supposed to say. This is how spirits channel, and it will seem as though it is your own inner voice most of the time, not all the time. Clairsentience, that is getting physical impressions in your body that didn't come from you. A lot of people who have clairsentience have hypochondria, or they could be misdiagnosed. They have a tendency to always think that they're having health problems because they physically pick up on the energy from spirits and other people around them. So feeling pain, pressure, weird sensations throughout your body, that's not necessarily coming from you. And Clairaugustine will often come with a genuine, intuitive message. Clairaugustine is the ability to taste phantom flavors and smell phantom odors coming from atmospheres or spirits around you. Now, how do you know if it's your imagination? What's the polar opposite of this? Just nothing. None of this stuff. You have none of this stuff. It just basically stands alone. You feel exactly the same. You don't have any sense whatsoever that you tapped into something greater than maybe just like your imagination, your thinking, your logic, what you want to believe. Okay. It's pretty flat. All right. Number 6. I do want to encourage you guys also, if you haven't already started to do so, post your questions or comments. We will be getting to them here in just a couple minutes, and donations are always appreciated. Number 6, it is authentic intuition when it is coming through trance or physical mediumship. So that's where a spirit will channel something directly through you or will enter into you and use you to deliver out a message. This means you'll have no recall Okay, you're not going to remember anything you said. You may not even remember the experience as a whole. It's almost like getting turned off and getting turned back on. When I give a reading, I don't remember who I read. I don't remember anything that I ever said. That's how I always know I'm in the right side of my brain and it's authentic. And if you begged me to go pull something out from that reading, good luck. We'll probably never be able to access it again. Okay. Now, how do you know then if it's just your imagination? Well, you're completely aware of everything you're doing the entire time you're giving the reading. The entire time you're reading your situation, you're delivering out a message to someone else, you're steering the ship, you're dictating it. Your self-awareness is there. You're a huge participant in it instead of a wide open channel, just being of service and delivering whatever it is that you're supposed to say. And you'll remember the entire thing, like every detail. You'll even know your thought process during that time. Number 7, when it is truly your intuition, you feel that it wasn't you. Now, that's not only about the lack of memory of the situation. That's also when people come to you and they say, wow, I really appreciate what you said. That was so insightful. And you're like, I not only don't recall that also doesn't sound like me. Or somebody may say, you know, the advice you gave me a few weeks ago was really helpful. And you'll be like, I said that? Like I said that? And you'll try to think of what part of your personality or experience knew that, had that kind of wisdom to give. And you literally can't make any connections there. It wasn't you. So you feel that it wasn't you. You may also feel like some divine entity, some higher up spirit used you as a tool to give that healing out to someone. And you could have a great sense of inner peace and gratitude and a great sense of unity, you know, with the universe, a bigger sense of purpose in your life and a connection to the world, you know. However, when it's your imagination, you basically know it was you. You probably just don't want to admit it. There was nothing divine about it. There was nothing exceptional about the experience. It was like any other conversation you've ever had. Okay, let's move on. Okay, in life in general, this one, number 8. Okay, when it is authentically your intuition, it's often happening on its own. It just comes in. It can even be inconvenient. And this can happen at night when you're sleeping through prophecy or mediumship. It can happen when you're awake. It can happen just at random times when you're around somebody, whether you know them or not, in line at the bank, in line at the grocery store, in line at Target. It could just happen when you're near someone who needs a message or a healing and you didn't ask for it. Now, this will increase if there has recently been a death in your friend or family circle, if you've gone through any kind of trauma, if you've suffered a really intense financial hit like job loss, a divorce, if you've gone through any kind of illness, et cetera, et cetera. There are many different reasons why we have an increase in our intuitive intelligence. And every time we get hit with one of those, we could find that it's just sporadically happening on its own afterward. Okay, let's remember intuition increases and we can't put the genie back in the bottle. There is no going backward with your intuitive intelligence. You have to learn to manage as you go forward your psychic, mediumistic, and empathic skills. So we hope to see you at class. It will continue to get stronger. Paul, can you put in the comments? I recently did a mini class on this. I think it was called like intuitive increases or something. Okay, why your intuition increases. All right, so how do you know then if it's your imagination compared to this? Well, you're forcing it. You're really digging for it. Okay, it's not just coming to you, and you don't have a pattern in your life where it kind of comes to you all the time. You really have to try to pull it out of the bag, okay, to get some kind of a message for someone or message for yourself. All right, number 9. How do you know if it's authentically your intuition? You probably don't want it. You have probably been running from this and hiding from this and dodging this bullet, and you probably don't want to have anything to do with it, okay? I find that most genuine light workers who are called to do this would do anything to escape it, but simply cannot, okay? How do you know if it's your imagination? You're always hunting it down. You're needy for it, okay? You're dying for it. You're claiming you have it, but it's not flowing to you. So there is a huge difference there in how much people respond with positivity or, let's say, negativity to it. And it's a reversal. It's the flip side of what you might think. Everybody wants what they don't have. Okay. And, when you get something, sometimes it's a gift you would rather send back to the store. So expect to see that dynamic. When you get a lot of it and you really don't want it, that's probably a sign that it's more authentic. Also, I would say for those of you that are tapping too much into your imagination, when you're looking for an answer, you should remember that you shouldn't be grabbing and needing the answer, whether it be for you or for the sitter, that you should just allow for it to come. It's not that much work. It is in the universe. It is available for you to tap into. You shouldn't have to chase it down. Just tap in with it. Allow it to come. All right. And number 10, last one. It is authentic intuition when it's been tested and it's accurate. You find out that you were spot on without even trying. People come to you and validate, tell you how accurate or helpful, how healing your messages were. And you know that it's your imagination when you never get that, or it's very, very rare. People don't come follow up with you. You can sort of witness in people's lives that what you said was off somehow. Maybe you feel like you're starting to lose confidence in giving messages because you seem to never be right. It could very well be that you're coming from your imagination, even if you have great intentions. Okay, so let's move into, we have any good questions, comments coming in here? I see nice donation.
Hitting home for a lot of folks.
Oh, good. I'm really glad. So again, if you guys didn't post yet, go ahead and do so, because I'm going to talk about 4 different things that you could do real quick to help yourself get more accurate. And then we're going to get right into those. Right. Again, if you're having any trouble on TikTok, switch to YouTube at Ask Ivy. You'll have a better time over there in the comment section too. All right. So how can you improve? How can we all improve? And this is something we need to be mindful of all the time. So whether you're advanced or you're a beginner, or you're just focusing on your intuition for self-development, all right, this is something you can apply all the time. Number 1, you need to read strangers. Like I said with my students, they are not supposed to be reading for a year to a year and a half anybody that they know. Now, some of my students cheat and they deeply, deeply regret that. There's a reason we do this, because a stranger is not going to be able to influence you as the reader. A stranger is not going to be able to necessarily inform you of what it is specifically that they want you to hear. And you will not have an agenda with a stranger. You're not going to care who this random lady is dating. You don't have an investment in their life. It's just not the same. Okay. There's not a risk of influence either coming from them or coming from you to them. So it makes the messages that can come through raw, powerful, dynamic. You'll get more channeling from spirit. You're going to tap into that highest and best vibration in the universe. Your psychic ability can be more easily activated. And even your empathic ability, believe it or not. You may say, yeah, but I don't know them, so I'm not connected to them. You shouldn't really need to be connected to them. I do readings over the phone. I do readings over the computer. I've been doing this since the first day I came out giving readings. People still today don't understand how that's possible, because energy never lies and energy transcends. So it doesn't matter if you know the person, if you can come into physical contact with them, if you could do a face-to-face, there doesn't have to be any kind of a connection. And when someone is in need of what it is that you have to give, it can help to not have that sort of emotional or mental bond with them getting in the way. It actually works against you. Okay. Another reason I do not recommend that as you're improving your skills that you read people you know is because they may dismiss you. They may not be listening to what you say. So even if you are accurate, they can block you, they can negate you, they can blow you off or dismiss you in some way. And it's disrespectful to you, to spirit. And it may not be obvious all the time that they're doing that. Some people are blatantly rude, and that would be better in this scenario. But if they're hiding it, you're just going to have a weird feeling like you failed. And what you don't need when you're learning to understand your abilities and you're learning the lost language, what you don't need is your confidence in spirit and your abilities rattled. It could take a long time to dig yourself out of that hole, at least 3 weeks. Okay. So stay away from people who might test you or block you in any way. Now, a stranger, it's not going to be as bad with them, believe it or not. Even with your well-intentioned family, I warn you, this could be a problem. Let's talk about number 2. You've got to test your accuracy. Now, you have to journal. This is the only real way. Whatever messages it is that you're getting for yourself, for others, you want to go back regularly and check on those predictions and see what your accuracy rate is. You want to ask yourself also certain questions. So say you have a friend who is debating on getting into a relationship, with someone, say your friend Ben is debating on getting into a relationship with this guy, James, and they just met a couple weeks ago, and, he really has strong feelings for him. He wants to know what your opinion is. Journal that. Even if you don't tell him everything you're thinking about how this relationship is going to play out, journal the details, journal the timeline. I think it's going to work out for 3 months, and then I see X, Y, and Z happening. Follow up later on. But it's important to deliberately go out of your way to test your accuracy. And it's important to also journal things that come to you spontaneously. So both ways, test it out. You also need to get educated. Again, I'm recommending my psychic mediumship course on free will versus destiny charted future. You can't predict an accurate timeline if you don't know the difference between the two of those. And the majority of readers out there have no clue that this even exists. So if you are making predictions that something is going to happen as though it is fixed, as though it is like written in the stars or astrology, it cannot be manipulated and it doesn't happen, that's a sign, maybe not that you were wrong, but that free will was involved. And so things changed, right? With free will, circumstances, time, people, others can alter a situation's outcome. You've got to get educated on the difference between the two. So maybe you were right. Maybe you just were off on that detail. Number 3, talk to your joy guide every single day. My class, Paul, could you put this in the comments? Meet Your Guides teaches you how to interact with all 5 of your guides. Your joy guide is your spiritual development guide. This is also the guide who watches over your mental and emotional well-being. This was your imaginary friend when you were a kid. This guide is like your bestie and is your right hand, never leaves your side. This is the guide who's going to help you, because technically this is spiritual development, to get it right. So I would say that every day you should ask your guide, just like we're having this conversation right now, be like, can you give me an opportunity today to test out my skill? And then go back and see if you were accurate. When you fail, go back to your guide and say, I failed on this. Take 10 minutes to sit with your guide and say, can you show me why I didn't get it right? And can you show me how I can improve? Okay, but every day ask for an opportunity and allow your guide to teach you and show you the way. Development is not just something that happens in class or when you sit down to give a reading. Mediumship is the perfect metaphor for life, and it's interacting with you every day, all the time. All right, and number 4, last one. You can improve in this by acknowledging, celebrating, and having an attitude of gratitude for all the messages you get wrong, for all the messages you get right, and for every new skill that you develop. So you want to say thank you to spirit. You want to say thank you to the sitter. You want to say thank you to yourself and to your higher mind. This attitude of gratitude says to the universe, I am here to be of service. I'm not coming from a place of ego. I am here to do the best that I can. I am not here to compete with anybody else. And you are tapping into law of attraction, which is going to give back to you in positivity and abundance and prosperity. When you are open, not clenching in a greedy way for more. Okay, so that's literally the best thing that you can do. I tell my students day one of class, lose the ego, leave it at the door, because you're not going to compete with each other, and the head will become the tail and the tail will become the head. If you come in here with a high and mighty attitude, or you're demanding more from spirit, you're going to get cut off. You're going to fall way, way, way to the back. Leave it behind. We are here to embarrass ourselves, because that's going to be required a good deal of the time. We're here to look ridiculous, but do our best. And ultimately, we are here to channel the healing that can actually help someone else. And isn't that the most important thing? So we'll let it come as it wants to come. Okay. All right. So let's get to some questions.
Yeah. All right. Start here with this one from Nama Noodle.
Nama Noodle?
Yeah, I put it on your screen.
Okay. Nama Noodle. When my 15-year-old goes to the cemetery, she gets pain on different parts of her body when she walks past different graves. What is that about? It's called clairsentience. Check out my class up on the website. It's 2 hours of training on the clairs. There's also a free version here on YouTube at Ask Ivy. I don't know where you're tuning in from. So when we get physical impressions in our body, they're coming from atmospheres, objects, other living people, and or deceased, including animals. So we will basically feel what they felt. It does not necessarily mean that it's going to cause a problem for us. If it's lingering, that could be a bigger problem, like a paranormal issue that you're going to want to clean up. You can book a paraconsult with me at any time. But usually what happens with clairsentience is it comes and it goes. And so if your 15-year-old leaves that area and shakes it out and visualizes, okay, this pain is not my own and I don't want it in me, I am shaking it out and releasing it. He can even visualize that he's dropping it down into the earth and it's dissolving or recycling, or it can come up as flowers or glitter. Then we're removing it from our bodies. And it should not be complicated to do, even though it is uncomfortable and it can definitely be intrusive. He's really going to want to learn what is mine and what is others. See the empathic awareness parent-to-child training. Mary Queen, any tips on how to further develop this when you were always told this type of thing wasn't possible by the family church members in your life? Ignore them. Who cares? They're stagnant. The church is dying off. It's corrupt. There's a lot of evil there. It's a cult. So, I may lose some followers for saying that, but I'm going to speak the truth. Any group of people that keeps you there in a religion based on fear is a cult. So by definition, they fit the bill if the shoe fits, So these are not people you need to have approval from to develop yourself. You need to stop thinking of yourself as like codependently connected to these individuals that are toxic for you. So I would say the first thing you need to do is stop asking that question, divide yourself, separate. You are an individual here on your own independent journey in life, and come and enjoy around the like-minded. Get some real religion.
There's a similar one.
Okay. David says, do you have any advice for when gaslighters, such as lying, cheating partner, tries to tell you your intuition, psychic ability is wrong? Without physical evidence, they'll just say, like, you're making shit up. Well, there will always be in life, when you're ready to level up, see a class, Paul will put this in the comments, please, called Fighting the Dark, Whenever you are ready to level up, I don't care if it's a new job, a new relationship, or if it's something in light work, there will be attacks, blocks, and obstacles that come from 5 different angles to prevent you from elevating. Now, light workers get this all the time. The average person gets it when they're about to level up. Light workers 24/7. And sadly with us, we see it coming from our inner circle. That's the lover in your bed. That's often your parents. That's a sibling. That's a best friend you've had since you were in high school. It's really sad what we go through, but that's part of the evolution and part of our discernment training in learning to shed and be independent. So what you want to do with someone like that is understand that they are deliberately attacking your faith. They're deliberately attacking your belief system and where you receive your connection to God and the universe and energy. And that is some dark, dark behavior. Okay, so don't sugarcoat it. Don't wear rose-colored glasses. That's someone you're going to need to set boundaries with, 100%. Okay, I always tell my students, was that David who said that? David also, I always tell my students on, I believe it's week 3 of the curriculum, we have a class called The Shift. This is not available to the public, but it's basically where I talk about all the different ways, and you're going to start to see it in love usually first, then it's usually your job, where anything that God, the universe, is calling you to do in light work, they're going to look at your circumstances, and anybody and anyone who needs to be removed because they're toxic or they can't go on that journey with you as you move up, it's going to be a shedding process, and that's the shift. And we like to say every time the bus stops, somebody's got to get off in order for a new door to open. Another door has to close. Okay. And it feels like you're going through that. I'm sorry to hear it. Rose Guzman, how do you stop seeing random stuff into people's lives? Like I meet people and just see random parts of their lives. Well, you have to train. So I don't just have students who come in to train because they want to go out and start a ministry, or they want to do this as a business or communicate with their deceased loved ones. I have a lot of people who come in to manage the ability because they feel like it's making them crazy. And they have a lot of times, and I can't prescribe or diagnose, but a lot of times have been misdiagnosed with depression, bipolar, anxiety disorders, ADHD, all kinds of other things, medicated, hospitalized. And we have to, everybody who comes into this course is monitored, whether they wanted to be or not. And I have a team of teachers who helps. You have to be monitored every step along the way to make sure that as you're tapping into these abilities, it's not running you, you're controlling it. And where you are right now, it's running you. And that's normal and that's natural for our society because we are raised to ignore it. And if we address it, we're told we're mentally ill or we're demonic. So your reaction is what mainstream intuitive people look like until they get educated and get control. Okay. All right. And then we have one from Tara Marie Kone. How do I stop being afraid of advancing higher in my abilities? Well, you have to jump in. I don't know that I have many students who come in who aren't afraid. I think that society has pummeled us with fear, and religion has taught us that if we develop our intuition and take the hands out of the power of the church and the priests in the Vatican, if we take the power away from them and we put it back into us where it actually belongs, that we're going to burn in hell. You know, so there are legitimate reasons why you could have deep-seated fear-based issues. It's also embarrassing to do something new. It can be awkward to step out and start saying things that you don't understand, or allowing spirit to channel through you, and you're not controlling where it goes. You know, you're just allowing it to flow. It's a weird experience for sure. But I think there's no easy way to tell people to get past their fear other than to walk it out, and that you get more comfortable. Eventually you're just going to be like, oh yeah, this is kind of strange. But there's authenticity and truth in this. And I would rather live and honor that than in fear, which is toxic, okay, and ego, and will take you down. This will do nothing but add to your life and other people's lives. We are at time. All right, again, guys, hope to see you for the Psychic Mediumship course. Registration is now open. Go to psychicmediumshipcourse.com. We just started Monday. You can still jump in. And if you are suffering from financial hardship right now, you can apply for the scholarship program that is up on the website, Ivy League, psychicacademy.com. Hope this class helped you guys. In the everyday. I hope you continue to work with your intuition and get back in touch with your roots. You can do it. I will see you guys tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern on TikTok, 9:30 on YouTube for my weekly Ask Ivy show where I take your personal questions and I deliver out messages from Spirit. Thank you, Polly.
Well,
Thanks, Spirit. Have a great night, everybody.